Welcome to Rochdale. This is my hometown, the town where I was born, and I'm going to tell you basically about the rise and fall of Rochdale. So Rochdale is one of these northern towns that was based on textiles, and what you're looking at now is Rochdale Town Hall, and you can see that it was actually a pretty prosperous place because things of value were made here. As I say, textiles, and people were employed to produce those things. So people had incomes that they could spend on other things, which created other business opportunities for all sorts of other businesses in Rochdale, creating more employment. So again, you can see some buildings here that are a legacy of when Rochdale was a rich place. Things started to go wrong for Rochdale probably around 1950, when a lot of the textile production was offshored to in the Indian subcontinent, either India or Pakistan. So the jobs went, the incomes went, and basically there was a big fall in spending. A lot of the engineering companies as well that Rochdale had that created jobs and income also either closed down or they moved to other countries where wages were lower. So offshoring then, where you shut something down and you move it abroad, it doesn't just destroy production, it also destroys sustainable incomes because you lose the wages that were linked to those jobs. And so what's happened in Britain is that the strategy for 20-30 years has been to substitute wages for debt. Yeah, so basically you blow up a big housing bubble, you get people to finance their spending not from wages but from all sorts of different debts, loans, overdrafts, remortgage your house, you make the housing market into a bubble, and people feel more confident to take on debt and they finance their spending from debt. But the problem with that is that it's unsustainable, and it's unsustainable because the debt has to be repaid with interest, and as time goes on those interest payments soak up more and more of this whatever disposable income's left. The other big problem that Rochdale's had has been incompetent and or corrupt politicians, and basically what they thought is that if they go for sort of fancy schemes, like opening up this bridge area, as I say, it costs millions of pounds to do this. This is going to somehow revitalise Rochdale. The thing is that to pay for these things, they've had to increase business rates. So the businesses that are left find it even harder to survive and make a profit because the council tax just kills them. So this is one of the things that the Rochdale Council have spent money on, is that this used to be all paved across. They actually covered over this bridge area, and Rochdale Council, I don't know, it must have cost millions and millions of pounds to open it up again. And the idea of it was that it was going to attract visitors to Rochdale, which is absolutely a ridiculous, moronic idea. That opening this up is going to attract people to come to Rochdale. It's ridiculous. So this is Saturday afternoon at about 1 o'clock, so you can see that there's no spending power left in the town, really, not enough to support any of these businesses. And this used to be one of the main streets in Rochdale. So you can see now, I think virtually everything is shut. There's a record shop here that seems to be open, but everything else all looks boarded up. So this is a little bit further down the same street, so there's a hairdresser's open, but again, there used to be a pub there. People haven't got money to spend, or they're not interested in drinking alcohol because the demographics of the town have changed. Card shop. Remember, this is Saturday afternoon. Should be the busiest time of the week. Polish shop not open. Another Polish shop not open. There's a phone shop. So this is Drake Street. Again, this used to be buzzing. Lots of shops open. A lot of people spending money here. So, this is what happens when the council they charge too much in council tax business rates. In one of these outlets, I'm not sure if it was, I think it was this one, there was an award-winning fish and chip shop, It used to be #1 on TripAdvisor, and basically it was forced to close down, not by a lack of customers, but because the fixed costs, the overheads of running a business was so high because the council taxes being charged by Rochdale Council were ridiculous. And basically I'll show you what the sort of things Rochdale Council has been spending the money on. So when I grew up, this building didn't exist. There was a conventional like market here, you know, wooden stalls with fabric roofs, selling all sorts of meat, vegetables, eggs, all sorts of clothes, all sorts of stuff. And basically Rochdale Council in the early 80s built this first massive shopping centre. I'm going to show you that now. Right, so this is the Rochdale XJ. So let's see how many of these shops are occupied. So there's one empty here. It's actually better than the last time I was here. At the end there where it says Rochdale Art Wall, that used to be a Boots. So we've got an empty one there. We've got another empty one there that's got painted shutters. Art gallery. Job centre. This again used to be a big open market, but I think they've just given up on that and that's completely boarded off. Okay, so this is the first shopping centre. It's not as bad as I thought it was. It's probably about, I would say, 80% occupancy. So this used to be a McDonald's, but there's not enough purchasing power left now in the town to even support a McDonald's. Up here, this big white building, this used to be a Marks and Spencer's, and again what's happened is can't make a profit. There isn't, you know, bearing in mind the inflated costs due to the sky-high local business taxes, there's not enough revenue being generated from that site to turn a profit, so it gets shut down. In the 1990s, Rochdale Council had another bright idea, which is to build another shopping complex, even though there was spaces left in the first one that they built in the 1980s. This one's called the Wheatsheaf Centre. It doesn't look like it from the outside, but it goes on for ages. It's on 3 different floors. It's absolutely massive. Again, would have cost millions of pounds of taxpayers' money, you know, to build this. I've not seen this before, but it's completely empty and been shut down. So what a spectacular waste of money. This is the outside of this Wheatsheaf shopping centre that's shut down. You can see just how big it is. It's huge. And remember, this is now completely empty. So you've got this huge Wheatsheaf shopping centre. It's shut down, completely empty, right? So, so you've basically got one shopping centre that's open, about 80% occupancy. You've got another huge shopping centre that's been completely shut down. There's no shops operating inside it at all. You can see it's fairly new. It's probably about 20 years old, this building. 25, 30 years old, no more than that. Completely empty, right? So in what sane world would you expect Rochdale Council to have done this, which is to build a 3rd new shopping centre? It's actually got one here that's empty, that it's just built with taxpayers' money, unless they think that they can regenerate Rochdale by increasing business taxes and council tax to build a 3rd shopping centre. when you've got this one that they've already built that's empty. It's just beyond, it's insanity. So this is this new shopping centre, right? So it's a little bit more open than the other ones. There's a new M&S that they've done. So all of this costs money. Who's paid for it? People of Rochdale have paid for it. Basically what that means is that they've got less disposable income after tax to spend on products. Most of these shops here will be selling imports anyway. So, you know, the British economy was based last 20-30 years. Lots and lots of jobs have got offshored, and basically, as I said before, people have been substituting wages for debt, and it's not sustainable. You can't, in the long run, keep on borrowing money to buy imports from shops. It doesn't work. And then the other thing as well is that if you actually wanted to create a sustainable local economy, what you'd actually have to do is to attract companies that actually produce things of value here in the town. As I've said before, this is the outside of this new third shopping centre. It's ironic actually that it's located here, because on this site there was a 16 storey building that used to house Rochdale Council, and they used to call it the Black Box, and it got pulled down probably about 10 years ago, something like that, because Rochdale Council, the people that work for Rochdale Council, it's more like a mafia gang. They decided that they were worthy of more than that, so they decided to use taxpayers' money again to open up this bit of the river and build this brand new council building called Number 1 the Riverside. Yeah, you can see it's absolutely huge building, all financed with people's taxes. It's absolutely ridiculous. So again, I think what's going on here, well, basically Rochdale Council don't have any money themselves. All they do is they steal it from other people via council tax demands or business tax, local business tax demands, and then they basically they spend it on themselves. You know, why not have a nice building like this? Why not employ a few more fluffers to massage their own egos? I think there's something else going on here too, which is these as I said before, these big building projects, multi-million pound projects, they're worth a hell of a lot of money to developers, and the developers that get awarded these contracts, I'm sure, are very, very grateful to the councillors, the people at the top of Rochdale Council who made those decisions to award the contracts to and they'll be getting kickbacks 100%. So this is basically the story of Rochdale, a town that's in like terminal decline. There's no sustainable sources of income in the town because of a combination of offshoring, and then also just basically the council's antics, too much in the way of taxation. And as I say, the only sources of spending in the town are basically public sector pay, and then also benefits of some sort, and it's just not sustainable. The other thing that I've noticed since I've been here is that there's a lot of people that look, I don't know, as if they've got like drug problems, smell dope around here. You know, it's basically what you would expect in a town where there's a shortage of good sustainable jobs. It's there's not a lot of hope here, I think. So what's the solution? What should have Rochdale Council have done? The answer is a lot less. You know, what they've done is gone for various schemes, building shopping centre after shopping centre, wasteful infrastructure projects, and all of that needs financing, which is basically meant to sky-high council taxes, business taxes, local business taxes, and that's just crushed what was left of any private business left in town. So this is why you're going to see, you know, in this video, loads and loads of empty shop units. The shops can't make any profit because no one's got any spending power in the town, because the council's taxing it to death, and then they're wasting people's money on all sorts of lavish kind of schemes. And I think many of those schemes really it's basically about money laundering. So people in the council will have contacts with local builders and property developers, and in return for issuing a contract to a developer, local politicians, I'm sure, will be getting kickbacks from that. So they have a vested interest in trying to do more of these schemes. The more schemes that they do, the more kickbacks that they get from the developers. So the solution really is just to do the opposite of that. What Rochdale Council should have done is aggressively cut business taxes, cut council tax, so people have got more money to spend in town. More businesses are going to find it profitable to locate here. They'll create jobs, which will create wages, which creates sustainable spending. You know, the only sources of demand in the town basically come from central government, either in the form of public sector wages. So, you know, there might be teachers, NHS staff here. They have spending power, but that's basically financed from other people's taxes. And then the other big one, I guess, would be welfare payments. So there's a lot of people on all sorts of welfare here. And that's basically the sole source of aggregate demand in the town, is basically government spending, either, as I say, public sector wages or welfare benefits. You can just see here somebody's tried to set up a Chinese restaurant, but there's no disposable income in the town. There's not enough disposable income to generate enough revenue to turn a profit. And in addition to that, the costs of running this sort of thing are way too high, because the business taxes that Rochdale Council charge are astronomical, because they've got all of these stupid schemes to pay for, plus a bloated workforce. There's like far too many people work for the council and they're paid far too much money. All of that money has to come from somewhere. So I think the other thing that I would say too, just in summary really, is it's futile to try to base the prosperity of a local economy on shopping, because where are people going to get the money from to buy the stuff in the shops? Like, where you need businesses, you need ideally high value added manufacturing businesses that provide the high wages. Then those high wages can be spent in shops, and that will create a little bit of activity in the service sector. But if you wanted to make Rochdale prosperous again, you'd have to go back to how things were in the 18th and 19th century. Wealth is based on production, not on building shopping centres. So that's all, because there needs to be a sustainable source of demand to kind of feed the shopping centres. You're putting the cart before the horses, you know. The main driver, as I keep on saying here, is manufacturing. So that's all, and it's not here. Rochdale Council aren't interested in it. They just think, let's just build another shopping centre, and it just doesn't work. So that's all I want to say today, so God bless.